are bright and shiny in my mind. You got me loving, hating, crazy indecision in my mind.
Welcome to the Fall Podcast, where the focus is on deer hunting, tips, tricks, tactics, and stories from across the Midwest. And now, here is your host, Aaron Blasey.
Welcome to the Fall Podcast. I am your host, Aaron Blasey, and this is episode number 13. Today on the episode, I've got a local guy. His name is Gabe Seibt. He is part owner in White Gold Deer Feed. And I wanted to get Gabe on the podcast because he grew up right next door to me and up here in Clare, Michigan. And they got a really cool product, and they offer a lot of things from, food plot seed to mineral to attractants. And it seems like they've got their stuff in order, And I just wanted to help them get their name out there. They're a relatively new company and local. So I thought it'd be good to get Gabe on here. And it was a really cool podcast to learn a lot about White Gold and what they have to offer. And Gabe's just a really cool guy to talk to as well. At the end of the podcast, Gabe wanted to do a giveaway when we both kind of collaborated. And stay tuned, for after the podcast, and I'll tell you what the giveaway is and give you info on how to enter it to win a bag of Gold Fever Braskas. Other than that, a little bit on what I've been doing. I just got back from Ohio. I was down at Chris and Casey's lease and put out 11 trail cams and put some mineral down and got some stands hung, and it was really cool. I got to actually scout deer one night, and it was a quick trip, but cool to go down there and kind of get back in the groove of things and check some cameras from last year. There was one left out that we had, and some bucks had moved in all the way till January until they were dropping their antlers, so it was cool to see who made it through. And back here in Michigan, I had the trail cam pull of all trail cams yesterday. I had about an hour to get out and just try to get my last pull in until at least mid-September until I leave on dropped. We're leaving on dropped around September 14th, and we'll be in the bush for about a month. And this year, like I've been talking, I've been doing something a little different with my cameras, and I've only got 2 out, and I've been putting them a long way away from where I'm hunting. I'm on the same farm, but I don't want them around the areas where I'm hunting, just because I'm trying to take all the pressure off of where my stands are at and everything. So right now, it's just a good time to get inventory, and that's what I'm doing. I am happy to say that Jeffrey is alive and well. I knew he was. Well, I thought he was. The first pull I had, I thought it was him, but now he's established. He is a very good-looking deer. He blew up from last year. He's definitely a 3.5-year-old this year, so he's definitely on the list. I got a new deer called Bomb Pop. The reason why it's called Bomb Pop is if anybody has had a Bomb Pop, his brow tine the tip of it looks like a bomb pop, so I figured that'd be a good fitting name for him. And also, I got a 4.5-year-old this year. I had him last year, and I didn't have him named, but this year I named him Jim Abbott. Now, if anybody is a baseball fan and knows who Jim Abbott is a legendary left-handed pitcher in the MLB for a long time, and he went to the University of Michigan, which is my favorite college, and Jim was born with a deformed right arm and kind of defied all the odds and did things people said he would never do. Now, this deer that I'm calling Jim Abbott, he's got a really good left side, and his right side is just kind of a beam that goes straight up. So I thought it'd be kind of fitting to name him Jim Abbott. So other than that, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm staying the heck out of all my hunting areas now until at least mid-September, and just let the deer do their thing. I'm gonna glass from afar and just kind of hope they stick around. So, but enough about that. I want to get right into this interview because it was really cool. Here is Gabe Seipt and the interview I did with him. All right, everybody, we're back for another installment of the Fall Podcast. It's episode number 13, and today I've got a co-owner from White Gold, Gabe Seipt, on with me today. Gabe, how you doing, man?
Doing well, Aaron. Thank you. How you doing?
Good. We were just talking about it. We've got a lot of rain in the last couple of days. I think I got 3 inches on my rain gauge in the last day and a half. I don't know. You guys are a little farther south than me in Michigan. How much have you guys got?
Yeah, we got hit really good down here too. It's been great. Obviously, things have really taken off. I've got a lot of good pictures from our customers with our green monster, which is our screen mix that gets up to about 8 or 10 feet tall, and it's taken off literally within a week. Some have had growth of upwards of 2 feet in 1 week. So the rain's been we've needed it bad, and when it hit, stuff's really started to take off. So we're really happy about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is that a new product you guys have, the Green Monster, or have you had that for a while?
It's relatively new. We came out with it about last August. It was a little bit late, so we got it in September, and didn't really get a good full growing season. So this year was a big one for us. We sold quite a bit of it throughout our shows in the off season, and then it was a good spring for it. And people were just excited about the mix, and it's such a great blend because it gives you the screen around your edges, breaks up the food plot, also your entrance and exit routes into your stand. But also, if your ground is lacking some thickness, some cover, some sanctuary area, it can really thicken it up. So it's a diverse blend, and we're pumped about it. It's got sunflowers in it too, which is a little unique and creates a nice visual, and the deer love it, obviously.
So you can use it as a barrier then, and so how high does it usually get, did you say?
It gets up in ranges close to 10 feet. So it says we've tested it. It gets up to about 8 or 10, but on the high end of that. So even just I got a picture from a customer in Ohio last week, and you could see it on our Instagram account. I've reposted it. He's got his arms straight up in the air. He's over 6 foot tall, and he's got his arms extended to over 8 foot tall, and it's over his arms. So even in this time, he's still got a few solid weeks of growing season left in that. It's gonna hit 10 feet plus for sure.
Wow.
So yeah, we're definitely pumped about that one. And but yeah, barriers, whether you want to cover your property line just to cover from passerbys on the road, or your neighbors looking into your ground, and definitely your entry and exit routes to your stand is a big one.
Yeah. Now, how does that fare when it snows? Does it hold up pretty good to the snow, or will it knock it down eventually, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's definitely going to knock it down a little bit. But what's great about it is it's got some winter peas and soybeans that kind of thicken the second tier. So you'll get the height with the sunflowers, the sun hemp, which is another big one. That's a popular one going in blends now. That gets nice and tall. But then these vining peas and soybeans kind of grab on and lattice their way up. So it creates that second tier of cover, basically.
Okay.
So certainly the snow is going to knock it down a little bit, of course. Once the growing season's over, things are going to wilt and die off a little bit. But it's because it's kind of a 2-layer screen, you're still going to have some nice cover in there.
That's awesome. That's really cool. That's a good idea I didn't even kind of think of a second tier. Just once the, late season comes on, it kind of acts as a food plot as well then.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything in there is high protein food source too. So they'll go right in. And again, this is what we saw last year. Even when we planted it late last year, they just go in, they bed right down, and then they munch right on it too. So it's obviously it is a food plot, but it creates that dual source of screening or security for them. So they'll just go in, bed right down in there, and then they have their food source right there. So it's my favorite just because I'm a big sunflower guy.
Yeah.
One year we did a complete quarter acre, a heavy quarter in just sunflowers. And it was such a great plot because there was so much wildlife going on. Some of my best sits were over the sunflower plot because there was just birds everywhere. The deer were, all over the place. And then, any other range animal that came in there, where there were tons of raccoons and stuff like that. So it just was a lot of activity. Everything was really feeding on them. It was just fun to see. And obviously it makes just a beautiful plot too with these, tall sunflowers. Highly nutritious too, obviously, which is great.
Yeah, very beneficial for all types of wildlife, like you were saying. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Well, for everybody out there that, really might not have heard about white gold or anything, can you kind of give us a little backstory about yourself and white gold and kind of how you guys originated it and kind of where it come from?
Yeah, absolutely. White gold is basically our first ever experience with mineral, a granular mineral, came back in 2004, 2005. We were able to kind of get our hands on a recipe. This is back when minerals were in their introductory phase and people were just really starting to learn about minerals. On our ground in Clare County, the first few bucks I ever shot were half racks. So we had a lot of broken racks, a lot of pencil thin. They lacked mass, they lacked strength in their antler development. So we started to learn a lot about minerals and what they can do, how they can benefit your herd, and specifically antler growth, antler development. And then, of course, with that, great for the doe population, great for lactation, helps out with fawns, stuff like that. So we were able to get our hands on a decent recipe. And over the years, we've tweaked it to kind of fit our ground and application, make it easier in application. So around 06, we really were churning this stuff out big time. We took our recipe to the local elevator in Clare, Johnson Elevator, and they would make up just tons of it. And we would, share it with friends in our co-op and neighbors and stuff like that. And we noticed an immediate impact in our deer herd. The antlers these deer were putting on definite mass, antler mass, but also the body weight followed suit. And we had a heavier deer, healthier deer, and again, stronger antlers, bigger antlers. That was the big thing we noticed. And so from about 06, we've been really using this recipe. And it just so happened in 2016, just 2 years ago, the local elevator, Johnson Elevator, which is in my hometown, born and raised in Clare, Michigan, happened to come up for sale. It was a situation where it was either closed, it was going to close down, or we could step in if we were able to step in and kind of take it over. So fortunately for me and my family, we're in a position where I could team up with my younger brother and my first cousin, who was born and raised in Clare as well. We got together, we made a decision, let's make a go at it. So we are elevator owners now. So if you've ever been by there, it's quite the structure. The initial structure was built in 1893. So there's still some bones from that, and it was built to last. And over the years, obviously, it's expanded. There is a store there. We do a nice retail store there with boots and all kinds of farm equipment, and we do a lot of 4-H business, stuff like that, for horses, cows, and pigs, anything 4-H related. So my first cousin runs the elevator on the day-to-day basis, which our primary business is dairy feed and mixing feed for dairy farmers. So while my cousin kind of takes over the grain elevator, my brother and I decided, hey, we've had a lot of success personally with white gold, the deer mineral, the granular mineral. So we just thought, hey, let's brand this and let's sell it. Let's get it out to the public, because prior to that, it was just kind of us and our neighbors. So we branded white gold and took off with our flagship product, which was that granular mineral, which we're calling pay dirt now. So, and then from there, we just we had such a good reception with pay dirt that it just made sense. Let's expand. And from there, 14 other products were born. So we've been running ever since.
Man, that's crazy. I didn't realize that you and your brother and your cousin were born and raised in Clare. I guess I thought you were I knew you were Michigan people, but I thought you kind of were imported into the Clare area. But that's awesome. I didn't even know you guys were local right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Our grandfather, so my first cousin, we have our same grandfather came over he and his family came over from what is now Hungary back in like 1903, 1904. And they were farmers. So I have a long history of farmers in the family. And when he came over, when he and his family came over, they were farmers, and they farmed right on Clarabella Road, which is the county line between Clare and Isabella County. So longtime farmers and longtime customers at that elevator. So it's kind of neat to have kind of our hand in some type of farming. Although I'm not a farmer by profession now, it is kind of neat to connect, and um, you know we've got the ties to the area, which obviously helps, and we the Seipt family's been around for a long time up there.
Yeah, that's really cool. Now, where are you living now? Where do you call home?
My brother and I, we both live in Southeast Michigan, so we both work. We have day jobs in Southeast Michigan. But we're able to manage white gold on a day to day from down here, as best we can anyway. And then my cousin John still lives in Clare, and he manages the day to day at the elevator. So the elevator in itself, I mean, white gold is just a small side business of what Johnson Elevator actually is. So we have several accounts up there where we're mixing feed. We mix a lot of feed at Johnson Elevator, whether for 4-H kids or dairy farms, or one thing we've really increased is our deer farms. So we're a lot of the high fence ranches in that area, in the central Michigan area, we're doing a lot more deer feed too. So that kind of segued from our white gold, and it's just another good business to get into, and all about growing big deer. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool. I grew up just south of Clare, in the Beale City Wademan area, and so I'm really familiar with Clare and Mount Pleasant. And now I live in Rosebush, which is literally 8 miles south of Clare, and I've been around Johnson's a lot, and I've been up there a lot throughout my life, and there's a lot of history there. And if I remember right, isn't Johnson's the first business ever in Clare?
Yep. The very first business right on the railroad tracks, 1893.
Yeah.
Is when that business was started, and it was, absolutely the first business in town.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. A lot of history there, and it's awesome that you guys are local, and you saw an opportunity, and you were able to take that opportunity over, and kind of, even though you're down south a little bit, you can still you still got ties to the local community and in the area. That's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited about it. It's where our roots are. We get up there as much as we can. We still do a lot of work up there, especially during the deer season, during the 4-H season, like right now, during fair time. We get up there as much as we can to help out, and just be around, and keep it going.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. Let's jump into the products you guys offer. Now, you offer anything from minerals to feeds, seeds, attractants, and is there anything else that you guys offer?
That's basically it. When we started, like I said, it was the granular mineral. So that was the first thing we did, and what we named later named as pay dirt, and then it just it segued into feed, because we have nutritionists on staff that go out on a daily basis to dairy farms, and dairy farmers are all about maximizing milk production from their cattle. So and for your listeners, a dairy cow, or cows in general, are ruminants, and so are deer. So they have the very similar digestion and nutrition plan. So just like maximizing milk production in a cow, we want to maximize antler, bone development, weight gain in deer. So it was an easy one for us, with working with our nutritionists already on staff, to come up with some recipes that can maximize deer nutrition as well. So it was an easy deal. We have all the ingredients right at the elevator for our dairy farmers. So nice transition into some high protein feeds. So we came up with a couple recipes that fit in the white gold product line. The first one we came out with was a 24% protein feed, which is called 24 karat. So everything, we try to keep that gold theme in there, but it's obviously a high protein feed. It's a good mix with some roasted soybeans, some obviously corn, and a lot of molasses in there to increase the attractability, but also gives it a nice, like a sweet feed kind of deal. But very, very heavy feed, and then from there, to go through a spin feeder, we came out with a 14 karat. So it's a 14% protein feed again. So there's a roasted soybean, corn, sunflower seeds, a high protein pellet, and then a light dust of molasses so it can go through a spin feeder. So we kind of went from the mineral to the protein feed, and then expanded that. We were able to come up with a molasses, a liquid mineral. So then we came out with liquid gold. Now our liquid gold is, like I said, a molasses base with all those key minerals and vitamins in it, but also we were able to keep the protein level up to 18%, which is unlike any other liquid on the market. And this has been probably one of our best. It's one of two products we market year round, and this is just great to if you're just a corn guy. Like I say at these shows, and when we're talking to people, if you're just doing a pile of corn, that's good. But throw a jug of this on there. It raises the aroma, so increases the aroma, increases the attractability, but also the nutrition. So you're adding onto that corn, you're adding 18% protein in molasses, vitamins and minerals. So it's just an easy way to increase the nutrition. But so all these products, by the way, are designed. Everything we do has got a nutrition base to it. So nothing is just sugar or salt or some type of empty calorie, if you will. Everything we do is nutrition based. So our slogan is bigger bang for your bucks. We want to give more vitamins and minerals as much as possible to help maximize the deer's potential as quickly as possible. So that's kind of the goal with that. What we had in mind in terms of our product line.
Yeah, so a lot of the stuff basically everything that you're putting in these products, they're there to do something. You don't have any fillers, or you don't have anything that's just taking up space, right? That's what you're kind of saying.
Exactly. And there are a lot of products out there on the market, and some will definitely draw deer in. Everything's going to have their pros and cons, and of course I've seen them, I've tested them, I've used them in the past, and I feel like our recipes are designed for just exactly what you're saying. There are no fillers. There's nothing fake about it. This isn't birthday cake, like I say at the shows a lot of time. This isn't an attractant that smells like a birthday cake, or some just ridiculous scent that'll draw deer in. Everything we do is all natural. We hit everything that we do is as far as attractability is done with just grain and molasses. That's it. Those aren't exotic scents or odors, aromas that might spook deer. This is just stuff that is in their everyday lives. So we're not dressing it up with anything, foreign or not native to a deer.
Okay. Now, I've got a question about minerals in a mineral site. So take me through you're going out to set up a brand new mineral site. Take me through the process of what you should be doing with your products, and or when you're putting it on the ground, how do you create your mineral sites?
Well, there's a couple different ways, and there's really no wrong way. It's just important. It's in an area that deer frequent, or deer feel safe. And there's certain things I like to do, but it'll work just as easy as taking out a bag of pay dirt and putting 10 pounds out on the ground. It's that easy.
Yep.
It could work that easy. What I usually recommend is some dead logs or a dead stump, something to that effect, where the wood will actually soak up the minerals. So they'll permeate right into the wood. So it creates this site that they continue to come back to, even if you haven't been back to freshen it up, if you haven't added any more to it. They'll continue to come back. It creates kind of a site that they're familiar with, but also they can continue to get the mineral from that, even though you may have not put any out in the last 2-3 months or a year. They continue to come back. And I started a site 2 years ago, just on the ground on the edge of a ag field, and I ran it for one season and came back the next spring to check it out, and they were still pawing at it, still eating the dirt. So they still get the minerals from the dirt. and they're craving them. Their bodies are wanting them, especially in the off season, late season. This was the spring when they were really scratching it up. So, but generally, in an area that obviously deer frequent, and then you can go right on the ground. But if you can grab a dead log, which is a good one, or a stump, I would just top dress a stump or a log with it, and you're going to create. It's an easy thing to do. You'll create a site for years to come.
Yeah. I've got some property in Missouri that I hunt, and it's a 10-hour drive. I don't really get to go there a lot. So a couple years ago I was creating a mineral, and what I would do is obviously I'd like to get it down to bare dirt. And I like putting a block down, like your mineral block, like the white gold mineral block, something hard. And then within that, then I'll put some pay dirt down, and really kind of, or I'll even bring something with some aroma, you know what I mean? Something with your molasses or anything that kind of, especially if it's a new site, I like to get that smell out there, get them coming to it. And I'll tell you, I mean, the deer dig holes on that stuff. And like you said, some years the water will regenerate it too if it's the ground, and it'll bring that mineral back up, and it's it stays right in the ground there, and they'll just keep visiting it year after year, and you just gotta freshen them up. But that's kind of how I personally like to start a mineral site, with a block and a granular and just a little bit of aroma.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you check out Instagram, and Facebook, I posted a video on there of a new site, and this is it's a perfect segue because it's exactly what I did. We have our mineral brick, which is a block, but it's unlike any other block on the market. This is a hard cooked candy, so it's pretty much like a Jolly Rancher solid rock with all the minerals cooked right in. So it's not granular. It's not like a corn press block. It won't disintegrate after the second or third rain, and it won't mold. That's the big thing. So it's impervious to all the elements, which makes it such a good seller and a great product. This thing lasts up to 10 times longer than a normal corn grain press block. So this site that I had done, and it details it on Instagram and Facebook. I put the brick out, and then, like you're saying, this is a brand new site. I kind of want to give it a supercharge. I want the deer to know, hey, I need to come check this area out. And then I hit it with some granular, with the pay dirt, and then I top dress it with some liquid gold, which has a powerful aroma. And I posted, I think it was less than 12 hours, brand new site. There were 4 does on it already. So
that's awesome.
It was pretty exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, we talked about your minerals and some of your attractants. I kind of want to get into your seeds, because I'm kind of more excited about those. I got a bag of clover from you this year. I haven't put it out yet just because I'm going to use it for a fall plot. And we've been drier than dry this year, and I think it probably would have burned up if I would have put it out a little earlier. So I'm kind of glad that I waited. But can we go through your seeds a little bit? I really want to really dive into those. So, kind of starting with the Culver Rush.
Yeah, absolutely. But because at the elevator, we work with obviously farmers on a regular basis. Again, that's the primary business. We buy a lot of seed. We buy and sell a lot of seed. So we're able to get large quantities every year for our farmers. So again, it's segued into the hunting industry and our hunters. So we're able to buy large quantities. We can keep our costs a little bit lower because we're buying in such large quantities. We're partnered with a really good seed company for many years now, and it segued into our first food plot seed, which was our Gold Fever, which just happens to be our number one seller. And the perfect time to be getting this into the ground is right now. It's a late season brassica, so this is your fall plot. But Gold Fever has the turnips, radishes, rape, and kale. So big green leafy tops, but you also have that turnip and radish growing underground that it only gets sweet as it gets colder. Those starches kind of turn really sugary, and it's a great late season energy source for deer, especially getting them through the rut or getting them through the early parts of the cold winter. They're constantly digging these turnips and radishes up for a late season food source. So That's one of my favorites, and of course that's our top seller. The Clover Rush, everybody's got a good, clover mix. So we wanted to follow suit with that. You got to have clover. Clover's like the staple. It's like the meat and potatoes of food plot seed. And with ours, we came out with a 5 different species of clover. We wanted to hit them all, as many as we could anyway, with the design of everyone's got a little bit different germination rate. Some take off right away, and then some kind of are slow growers. So it's a great grazing style food plot. So the deer will come and nip those tall ones off, and then the next ones are kind of coming up through. So clover is just a great seed. It's for your money. It's always the best one to go with because we've tested ours being a perennial. It's lasted 6+ years. So if you can maintain that plot, keep the weeds out of it, spray it when you can, mow it when you need to. This will last a long time. Which so for your money, it's a great seed, and it's pretty durable. It's a resilient seed. So we do all of our 2-track and logging trails in them. So, we're going over them with the UTV and 4-wheeler, and it continues to come back. So that's a great, our Clover Rush is a great seed blend. And then last year, late season, like I was saying before, we came out with the Green Monster. So that, again, that's the screener. You have the Sun Hemp, which is a tall one. This is kind of new to the hunting industry, food plot seed scene, basically. Gets really tall, and that helps with the cover. Obviously, sunflowers again get nice and tall, high protein, high fats there, and then sorghum. Sorghum's a good tall screen mix, and then the soybeans and winter peas underneath. And then just this year we came out with Gold Mine, which is again, play on words with our white gold, but we have sugar beets, turnips, clover, and there's some sun hemp in there too. So this is designed to be an early season. So you get the early season greens, the early season protein with the clover in there, and then late season sugar beets and turnips. So sun hemp as well. Sun hemp, again, like I said, it's a new one. Sun hemp gets a little tall, but it also is high protein. It's a legume, so it puts nitrogen back into the ground. So as it goes through its growing cycle, it kind of wilts away, but it's a great soil conditioner. It puts nitrogen back into the ground, which helps springboard the sugar beets and turnips. So there's a definite play between the two seed blends there that do the early season protein, nice and green, but also as that matures, it helps segue into the fall with the sugar beet and the turnip. So we're excited about Gold Mine being the first year for this seed. It's been a pretty good turnout on that too. It's sugar beet is always a great seed for Michigan. Michigan's a big sugar beet state, so that was a fun one to get going.
Yeah, for sure. And I see that you guys have a cereal grain as well. The Klondike, the Winter Klondike? How's that little blend?
It's Klondike is a great late season blend, and there's a story behind that one. My brother and I hunted Iowa back in 2015, and the soybeans were already down. They were already cut. All these soybean fields were already cut and harvested, and the farmers had gone through and sowed some winter rye. So all these little shoots of these look like little grass blades just shooting up. And these deer, and it's designed to put nitrogen back into the ground again, so it can help condition the soil for the next year's planting. So we noticed this, and it was taking off. And again, this is cold. This is November, and this stuff's just shooting up. So it's very resilient. And these deer were just mowing this stuff down. And so we were trying to find out exactly what winter rye they were using and what kind of mix we could come up with that could kind of mirror this activity, because a late season green food source like that is resilient to bust through a light frost, a light snow, and be that sweet and sugary, but have a high germination rate to battle through cold soil temperatures or lack of precipitation late was huge. And then so we got with our seed company, our seed reps, and we came up with the Winter Klondike, which is essentially a throw and grow too, which is great. So there's Our bag is a 25-pound bag of plants, a half acre, and it's a late season high protein. It's a high fiber cereal grain mix. So this is the one that you can kind of just grab and, just like they say, throw and grow. It's an easy one, high germination rate. You just get out and start, just throw it out. It couldn't be easier. And if you have just a small spot deep in the timber, or hard to get to, you can't kind of get your farm equipment back there, or you just want to create something different late season, it's a good one just to go back and throw out. And the deer just love that late season green.
Now, does any of these seeds, do they work good in like heavily, shaded areas? So if you got somebody that's got a kill plot, back in the woods and it's pretty shaded, do these work pretty good in the shade?
Well, you need some sun. There's no doubt about it. If I were, I just did one behind my house here too, and it didn't get a lot of sun, and it didn't do very well. You got to have some periods of sunlight. There's no doubt about it. Specifically like green monster, you need sun. Sunflowers love sun, obviously. Sun hemp loves sun. So you have to pick the right ones for it. If I were, and I answer this question a lot on the road and at shows and online, the best ones I would say clover. Like I said before, it's just a really resilient seed. It doesn't need a lot of attention. It doesn't need to get deep. Seed to soil contact doesn't need to be too deep. Just like the winter Klondike, it's like the throw and grow, high germination rate. And our Culver Rush and our winter Klondike have high germination rates. So just based on, iffy soil, or, not a lot of rain, or not a lot of sun, if too much, a little shady, not a lot of sun, definitely Rush and the Klondike are your best options.
Okay. Yeah, and that's what you and I were kind of talking about with the Culver Rush on my, my 1 acre farm. It's actually an 80-acre farm, but I got 1 acre of timber that I was doing all the hinge cutting on. I opened up the canopy quite a bit. Now the sunlight gets in there, and before you would never see any weeds or anything on the ground. And I was just back there 2 weeks ago, and it is just green as all green. There's everything growing up on the ground. So I definitely opened up the canopy enough. Now I just got to get in there, kill all that, and open it up so I can get this Culver Rush in the ground. And basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create this Taj Mahal for all these deer, with the bedding areas, and I'm just going to try to throw food in there, and there's already water in there. So just trying to make the whole thing a one-stop shop for, a buck to want to come and cruise and check for some does, and hopefully me or my wife's in the stand when they come by. So
yeah, absolutely. There's nothing better than dropping a few canopies and exposing that ground that hasn't had sun in a long time or never gets sun. Things just take off. And it's we clear cut a section of our ground, I think it's been 3 years ago now, and that's when we hit it with winter Klondike. So we didn't work the ground at all. So we opened up the canopy, it was clear cut, then we went in and just hand throw and grow, just hand seeded a winter Klondike, and it still shot up. That virgin ground, basically, that ground that hasn't seen sunlight in a long time, is just a springboard for anything. And if you can get that seed in quick, you're really going to see a great just explosion of growth in there. So that's always kind of fun.
yeah, it's a lot. When I was telling somebody, I can't remember, it was a couple podcasts ago, that I really like the preparation. I'm really starting to gravitate towards that. I love to hunt, don't get me wrong, but the preparation in the summer, hanging stands, trail cams, all that stuff, putting in plots, like I'm really gravitating towards that. I love doing that. And I asked myself, I'm like, why do I like doing that? Well, I think it's one of those things that, like, you're seeing instant success or feedback as well. With hunting, seasons can drag on and drag on. You still love to do it, but with putting cameras out and getting pictures of bucks, or doing a food plot and getting pictures of deer on your food plot, you get that instant gratification, and I think that's what I gravitate towards. I don't know. That's the only thing I can put towards it, though.
Yeah, absolutely. it's a lot of fun, and it's we preach it's a year round nutrition for us. It's a year-round season. It's 12 months is what we commonly say, and but I'm right with you, brother, on that one. It's exciting to set up a mineral site and to go out and shed hunt and just sow seed and embrace your inner pioneer. Just like they did a couple hundred years ago before we were around. Just it's a lot of fun, and as the next generation comes up, it's exciting because I take my kids out to do all this stuff too, and it's a lot of fun. And I couldn't think of anything else I'd rather be doing.
Yeah, for sure. So for everybody listening, White Gold, they offer a lot. We've covered a lot, so far as minerals, feeds, seeds, attractants. They also do this thing that you called build your own pallet. Now, Gabe, can you kind of break down what this build your own pallet is for anybody that doesn't know what it is?
Well, basically, we get a lot of people contact my brother and I that would like to try a bag or two of 24 karat at 50-pound bags. So I had a couple guys in Mississippi hit me up, and they're like, well, we'd like to try 24 karat. Well, it's difficult to ship 50-pound bags and not just get killed on freight on that one. So we came up with build your own pallet and discount pricing. So you can construct a pallet holds 2,000 pounds. So that standard wood pallet everybody sees laying on the back sides of every business in town can hold 2,000 pounds. So we came up with a solution to try to figure out this freight business, and we need to load it up as much as we can. So if you go onto our website, interactive website, and you can build with all of our 15 different products up to 2,000 pounds. It may seem like a lot, but it goes quick. When you're dealing with a 50-pound bag of feed, that's 10 bags of 24 karat. So that gets built up pretty quick. And then on top of that, you have food plot seeds if it's that time of year, or any of the minerals or the attractants as well. So it's great. It's designed for hunting camps. It's designed for hunting groups, which is a big thing now. Everybody, there's a lot of guys involved in these different groups, but also land managers or businesses. Even we've sold some to retailers too. So you get together with a couple of your buddies and you split up a pallet. And we've got a great partner in Northern Logistics, which is based in Clare too, a freight company. And we partner with Northern Logistics on this, and we can ship it to your door anywhere in the Midwest. And we just shipped one to Maryland last week, so we're expanding our shipping and our freight on this. So, and there's one going to Mississippi next week as well. So we can ship it to your door. You don't have to go out to the store and try to pick up different products. And the nice thing about it is you're getting everything from, you can build your whole season. You can start in the spring. So you want 10 bags of pay dirt. You want 10 jugs of liquid gold, but you also want your food plot seed, and then you want your high protein feeds for this summer growing months. So you can build your entire season too, right into the fall. If you're just a one-man crew on this, you can take care of your whole season in one pallet. So it's just a different way to allow the consumer to personalize anything they want. You can build your Matthews bow in any variety of colors now online. It's pretty cool to mess around with online. So you can get on there and throw on a couple bags of this or a couple of bags of this and mix and match however you want. If you like clover more than the fever, then load it up and check out, and we'll ship it to you within the week. Everything's made to order. That's the other thing. So we don't have just pallets of stuff sitting around. Everything's made to order. And so it's coming to you fresh, and generally we can have it to you in less than a week.
That's awesome. That's really cool that you guys are catering to, your every hunter that's trying to buy it, or like you said, even hunting groups or deer camps, or you're catering to that. And I found something too. I was looking at your stuff earlier and online and everything, and one of the questions that I get from a lot of people that know me and kind of know what I do. And they ask me questions about, planting plots and when to plant them. Now, I did see on your website, you have a feed schedule. So you can basically go on here and see it, you guys list out, your minerals, your 14K, your pay dirt, 18 gold, all that stuff. And it tells you when you should be planting or when you should be putting out. I really like that.
Yeah, we wanted to come up with something that's user friendly, and we answer a lot of questions, of course, on what's good for this time of year, what should I be putting out, and we just tried to design something that was user friendly for specifically the consumer in our products. So, like I've said before, you should have a product out every day of the season. You should have a white gold product out to help supplement the deer nutrition year round. So, and we're real about it. We're not trying to sell you something you don't need. So if you came to me at a consumer show or you called me and said, hey, it's November, which I'm thinking about buying a mineral brick. I would discourage you. I wouldn't agree with the time of year on it. I would love to sell you stuff, but a mineral brick is not what you need right now. You need feed right now. You need attractants right now. So the minerals are specific time for us. We've tested minerals, anywhere from the end of or the start of the shed season, say January, February, right through to August, September. So there's a method to the madness there. We don't want to sell you something you don't need at the wrong time. I want you to be successful. I want you to grow a big deer. I want you to keep that deer on your property. I want you to have an opportunity or an increased opportunity at harvesting that deer just to improve your overall experience, your overall hunt. So certainly I wouldn't want to try to sell you mineral in October, November, December. I would push you toward feed, and conversely right into the mineral season. I'm definitely pushing the minerals at that time of year, and also some feeds. So try to make it a little easier, a little user friendly. So if you're picking up our catalog, you're on our website, okay, what month is it and what should I be using now? That hopefully will answer your question right there.
That's cool. Yeah, that you guys really, really painted a picture for everybody when they should be doing everything. And I like that line that you gave. You want someone putting out you want a white gold product on the ground every day of the year or out. You know what I mean? To maximize your herd and your success rate as well. That's really cool. You guys got the whole system, in one bag basically. Well,
right.
not bag, but like you guys offer it all. So
right. And the important thing is brand recognition with us. When you see white gold product that can take care of your entire year, you're going to get a quality product, you're going to get the best price, and you're going to get the biggest quantity. Our motto, the bigger bang for your bucks, it's a play on words because you're going to get the most quantity, you're going to get the best price, and you're going to get more nutrients, vitamins, proteins packed into our products. Like I was saying before, everything nutrition based, you're getting more. You're not getting a bag of salt, you're not getting some sugar water, you're not getting any fillers or just stuff to dress it up and smell pretty. This is all just 100% pure and the best stuff you can get. So that brand recognition is important. And there's a product designed for every day of the year. And just look on our year-round feed schedule. You can figure it out and go pick yourself up some products and get them out.
That's cool, man. Now, where are you guys in at retail? Like, what stores are you in? Where can people pick this product up at?
If you go on to our website, whitegolddeerfeed.com, there is a locations tab. So right now, we have obviously a good presence in Michigan. We've got a lot of good partners. Jay's Sporting Goods, Northwoods Outlet are great partners of ours. The Jay's in Clare and Gaylord. But then there's a lot of smaller shops throughout northern Michigan, central Michigan, west side and southeast. So, but we're expanding. We're looking to grow. So we're actually meeting with some distributors this week to to try to get further out into the Midwest. So slowly expanding, but eager and motivated to get it out there. But as far as our online sales, like the 50 pounders are definitely a harder one to ship. So the feeds are harder to ship, but we do ship all of our food plot seeds and our minerals online, as well with the attractants too. So we can get them all out minus the big bags of feed, the 14K and the 24K right now.
So for any retailer that might be listening to this podcast and they want to get your product into their store, what would they have to do to get get your product in there?
Just give me a call. It's as easy as that. Our products, again, building that brand recognition, it's resonating with consumers right now. And again, because we buy such large quantities of our ingredients for our dairy farmers, we get this stuff at good rates. So we're able to pass that on to the retailer and the consumer, the customer. So our prices across the board are lower than anybody else's. Not to mention, your quantities are generally higher than our competitors too. So again, the bigger bang for your bucks is there, and we're passing that on to retailer and consumer too.
That's cool. That's awesome. You and I were talking off record here a little bit ago, and you mentioned a hunt you had last year in Missouri with a buck. I kind of want to jump into that now, transition a little bit from the white gold stuff and go into your season last year and talk about this deer that you ended up killing in Missouri.
Yeah, we had a great time. My brother and I have been hunting together, obviously, since we've been small. Our dad introduced us into hunting, and we've been hunting together since we were, I can remember, 4, 5, 6 years old. And we got bit by the out-of-state bug a few years ago, so we've been traveling a lot. We ended up getting permission on some ground in Missouri, northern Missouri. And my brother and I decided a few years ago, instead of just sitting all day in separate stands and trying to stay motivated, try to stay into it, that can be tough. So now we sit together every day, which is is a lot of fun. It makes it more interesting, keeps us in tune to our hunts. So we sit together on all our hunts, and there's usually a bit of back and forth about who's up first or who's got first shot, but that's what keeps it fun. And on this particular, on the one this year was great. We both tagged out in Missouri. I struck first, which was great. And it's we were sitting on an oak ridge in north central Missouri, and it had been slow. We had one picture of a daylight buck for the previous 2 weeks that we'd been there. So there was not a lot of daylight movement, which is always tough.
How many acres is this farm you guys are on?
This is 150 acres.
Is it mostly timber, or you got any ag, or what's that breakdown like?
The breakdown's probably 120 of timber, and then there's 30 in CRP, which is central on the property, which is nice. It's a little thicker, overgrown area, so it's kind of nice. But so we moved up onto this oak ridge, and just for a little bit different scenery on this one. And we're in a double set, and again, the only daylight picture we had of a buck. Here he comes. He's following a doe up the oak ridge, and it was pretty thick, and it was one of those scenarios where he had to come to this specific spot, or it was going to be a no-go. It was just a little too thick, and sure enough, he came 30 yards, and I was able to squeeze an arrow in, a nice high lung shot, which immediately shot. It was amazing how it exploded with instant red, and I knew, even though the shot looked a little high, just the way the impact hit, I knew it was a kill, and it was going to be a kill shot, and it was pretty exciting. And it was nice that it's always nice to have my brother there, and he films. We're very, very amateur filmers, but it's always fun to have those memories. recorded, and so it was a nice one. It was so we had a quick track job. It was about 60 yards, and it was a nice buck for me. I haven't shot too many bucks. We don't get a lot of time to hunt, so when we can do it, we get after it, and it's a good time doing it together.
What time of year was that for you guys? Was that like pre-rut or was it full-blown rut?
It was definitely still pre-rut. There wasn't a lot of action going on. It was pretty quiet. This was I think November 8th on this one. So
Okay.
we always try to time it in that November 5th to 13th or 12th range. That's our kind of our week to get out there, and then get back to Michigan for the opener here.
Yeah.
But it was really slow, not a lot of daylight movement, and he was I think he was seeking. So I mean, he was a pre-rut kind of scenario going on still. So, and then of course after we left our cameras up, and then we came back just this few months ago. We pulled those cards. That's always kind of fun. And 2 weeks after we leave, it's just daylight buck after daylight buck parade. So we're a little early, but still worked out all right.
Yeah. Was that a morning hunt or was that an evening hunt?
That was an evening hunt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you more particular? Are you more partial to morning hunts or evening hunts? And how do you like what do you like to hunt?
I like the mornings. I'm a morning guy. I like to get in. I like to get up early and get out. A good solid 30 to 45 minutes prior to daylight. I find the cover of darkness and the sneakiness, being unseen. I enjoy that part. I'm a public land guy. We've done a number of public land hunts, so anyone that's done that knows they got to get up really early. That was just the strategy we always applied was getting up really early before anybody else to get out there. So I kind of like that part of it and beating everybody else out there. And then getting into the cover of darkness, and then just get settled in, and it's like no pressure, no stress for that first 45 minutes to an hour of waiting for sun to come up, and then it's time to go when that light starts to break. So I like the mornings definitely better than the noons, or the afternoons, but I'll take either.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned public land. Have you hunted a lot of public land in Michigan?
Not a lot. I've hunted a couple in Clare County area, and then some down in Southeast Michigan. But most of my public land experiences in Kansas and Iowa, and a little bit in Missouri. So more out-of-state hunts. It's been a while. I'm fortunate enough to grow up. My dad is a member of a hunting camp, and we have about 120 acres to hunt in Clare County. So I've always been fortunate enough to stick on private land. So not a lot of experience in Michigan, no.
Okay. Now, have you had any success in Michigan on those public land hunts that you had?
No, it's been pretty quiet.
Yeah. Okay.
So a little tough.
Yeah, it is tough around here. I know there's some pockets of state land around that I've never personally hunted state land, but I'm kind of getting bit by that bug, as you alluded to, is that I kind of want to try it. I want to, for some reason, something's telling me I need to try it once or twice and just see how it is. But, with my job and filming, all fall and everything, I don't get a lot of time to hunt the rut. I might get a day or two where, majority of my hunting is early and late. So that's when I go to Missouri, is late season, and really kind of try to set up on the food, or maybe a late rut kind of thing. And I've been successful I didn't go last year, but the 2 years before that, I killed a buck in the rut. And then I went back I killed a buck in November, rattled him in, and then on November 13th morning, and then I went back in January and killed another buck on food. And then the next year, which would have been 2016 late season, I went back and killed another buck, really tucked up against a bedding area. And he was the only deer I saw that night. It was cold. I was in a tree stand, and he was just came out of the bedding area and he was just walking the edge. I was on a good edge where bedding meets, it was like a cedar thicket meets a, mature oak ridge, and just caught him right there at the last light when the buzzer was going off, and I was able to get an arrow in him. So I've had some good success out there, and the last couple of years I've been finding some pretty good success here in Michigan around our area. I've killed 2 Pope and young bucks the last couple of years, so I'm growing as a hunter. You know what I mean? Growing up, I killed a couple 100-inch deer, and 2-year-olds, and then at my first 3-year-old I killed in 2012, and he was right around, I think it was 110 to 115 right in there, and and it just kind of goes in stages. I always say it goes in stages, and it's a lot of fun though, man. I love hunting. I love the fall. That's why I named this podcast the Fall Podcast, because the fall for us hunters is what we gear up. That's what we do 365 days a year. We get ready for the fall, and it's my favorite time of the year.
Yep, no question. And those, segueing off that public land, and I know how rewarding a public land hunt can be. My brother and I have done it for years, starting in Kansas, and to speak to all the Michigan public landers, I know how difficult it is, but then I know how rewarding it can be.
Right.
So it's public land hunting is, when I hear people talk, I'm a public land guy, or I'm hitting this piece of public ground, my hat's off to you. It's great.
Yeah. Yep. Well, cool, man. We're coming up on time here, and I want to thank you for coming on. And if anybody wants to go and look at some white gold products, or see everything that you guys are doing, where can everybody go to look at all that stuff?
But the easy way would be just our website is whitegolddeerfeed.com. We put a lot of work into that, constantly updating it, adding videos, and other information there about our products. We're trying to get up on our social media. My brother handles the Facebook. I do the Instagram. So we're constantly updating with videos, how-tos, or reposts, just kind of give you an idea what our products are doing in the field right now and what people are saying. So definitely our website, but Facebook, White Gold Deer Feed, or Instagram, White Gold Deer Feed, are the best ways. Or if you're in the central Michigan area, just stop into the elevator. There's plenty of people in there. Get a first-hand look at White Gold and what it's all about, and our little headquarters there.
That's cool, man. And I appreciate you coming on again, and I'd like to do this again, and and I'm gonna pick your brain a little bit about some seeds and everything, and I like I said, I just appreciate you coming on, and I had a lot of fun doing it, and and we can keep in touch for sure.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Gabe. And there you have it, Gabe Seibt from White Gold Deer Feed here in Clare, Michigan. Really cool interview, a really cool guy, and the company White Gold and Johnson Elevator, it's been the longest lasting business in Clare, and it's just a lot of history there, and it's really cool to get Gabe on here and talk a little bit about that. And before the podcast, I told you we'd be giving away a bag of Gold Fever Borascas, and all you have to do is, I'm going to be making a post today after this podcast. Go to the Fall Podcast Instagram page, follow that if you haven't already followed the Fall Podcast, comment on that post that I put up there, and tag 2 friends in that post, and that'll automatically get you in the drawing. We'll run it for a week. Next Wednesday, I will announce the winners at the end of the podcast, so everybody knows who won. And that's how we'll do it. So go to the Fall Podcast Instagram page and follow that page if you haven't, like I said, and comment on the post that I'm going to do today, and tag 2 friends in there, and spread the word. I really appreciate it. Like always, go to iTunes. Please leave a review, a 5-star rating if you can. That's what kind of keeps this podcast going, and I really like to get the feedback as well. Thanks everybody for listening, and don't forget, next Wednesday an all new episode of the Fall Podcast.